Bol Bol. Bol Bol. Come on. Bol Bol. Yeah, Bol Bol.
Yeah, we got him.
Bol Bol. Yeah. Psychos and sickos unite for the final time in this god-awful regular season for another edition of the PHNX Suns pregame show presented by our friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. I'm Erik. That's Steven, Bol Bol's biggest fan. Only second in the fandom for Steven is the Chicago Bulls. And of course, the Chicago what? Bol Bols. We got Gerald to the left, Noah behind the Mac, making all the magic happen. And as unserious as I am right now, we will get serious in this pregame show as the one and only Marc Stein from DLLS will be joining us live for about 10 minutes during this pregame show to talk about the Phoenix Suns' future. But how about the right now? How we feeling, boys?
I'm ready for it to be over, but I'm excited to watch some of the young guys ball out today. I think that's the reason a lot of people are here, to see how the Suns finish the season, to see Ryan Dunn, Oso Ighodaro, Colin Gillespie, guys like that get ample minutes, and to just watch hoops. If you are here for game 82 of 82, we appreciate you all. I'm very sorry for the season you had to sit through, but if you're still here, you are a psycho and you are a sicko, and we appreciate that about you.
It's sad. It's sad because this team had expectations that have not even been close to being met. Won't be having any postseason play. And you're going to be seeing a bunch of other teams invited to the dance that is the postseason, and you'll be outside asking to borrow somebody's ticket. The answer's going to be no.
No, people are trying to give away tickets at this point to the Phoenix Suns. Listen, I've been ready for this. You know, I've gone through all the stages of grief so far. Like, it feels like the Phoenix Suns have been dead for quite some time. I'm at the acceptance phase, and we're going to be in acceptance together. We'll be doing a live watch along. Steven and I will be watching the game along with you right here, right after the pregame show. So make sure you tune in for that. And of course, we'll be having our postgame show as well. We have a special guest for the postgame show too. We'll keep that a secret, but you'll want to tune in for that. Before we get into Suns ball, let's go ahead and take a look at the All-Pro Shades push for the playoffs, because there is actually a lot on the line across real teams in the West today. So from top to bottom, it's Thunder, Rockets, Lakers, Nuggets, Clippers, Warriors, Wolves, Grizzlies, Kings, Mavericks. A lot can change on the final day here in the Western Conference. Gerald, what are you looking at the most?
I mean, that hunt between 4 through 7, everything is pretty much up in the air for those teams. And it's going to be fascinating to see how those matchups pan out based on what happens on the final day of the regular season. This is as close as it's been in the West in that range in quite some time. I remember the season back in 2013-14 when the Suns just missed the playoffs with 48 wins. It was a similar situation where it came down to the wire there, but that was more towards the end of the playoff field. This is right in the heart of it, and it's going to determine some first-round matchups. So kind of exciting to see how that is going to play out outside of the Suns being in that 11th spot and not being in the field at all.
Been a fall from grace for the Memphis Grizzlies and everything that they had established to everything that they've been the last 2 weeks now. It's indicative of a coach or not having a coach that was establishing things and things that you were working towards all season. I'm very curious to see what happens with Denver in that same light. Obviously, their head coaching change took place later than the Grizzlies, but I could see it having a similar impact potentially come postseason.
Noah and I just locked eyes, and I don't know why, but we just gave this look to each other. But speaking of Denver, they play the Rockets today. The Rockets are playing all their starters. Denver, of course, playing really hard. It must be nice to have actual meaningful basketball. But let's just take a look at the Suns starting five for today, Gerald.
Oh, boy, yeah. So I'm
excited for this one.
You don't know who's in it yet?
No, I have no clue.
All right, so we got Tyus Jones and Colin Gillespie.
Awesome.
We've got Grayson Allen.
Oh, the defense.
We've got Ryan Dunn. And we've got Mason Plumlee.
No! No, get the fuck out of here. Are you serious?
Mason Plumlee is starting at center today.
That is the biggest middle finger from Mike Budenholzer. No, bro, come on.
I was waiting for that to break your brain a little bit. I would guess that Mike Budenholzer is going to justify that as
Are you kidding?
Trying to match up with Domantas Sabonis, but there's no reason for
You
it.
started Tyus Jones, Colin Gillespie, and Grayson Allen. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's tough.
Change the thumbnail. We're not having fun anymore.
Oh, no.
What, Steven, what the hell, man?
That's been the answer for a lot of Bud things.
Are you serious?
I got
dude?
nothing for that. I got nothing for it.
You know,
Actually, I do. The Kings will probably score 150 points today.
oh my God. He is begging to get fired.
Well, because the Kings have something to play for today.
Absolutely.
Like they don't want to drop to number 10.
And they've been in the gutter in terms of their general team play the last couple of weeks, which is not where you want to be for a team that's supposedly wants to go to the actual playoffs. So they're going to be looking to get things done in this game. And obviously the Suns are probably going to serve as roadkill in some capacity for them, considering neither of their big three players is playing, including Nick Richards in addition to that. So, yeah.
So we got a 3-guard lineup. We got one of the rookies not playing.
You have one notable defender in your starting lineup.
Yeah, and he's the rookie.
And they have 3 all-stars in their starting lineup.
This could get ugly pretty quickly, and we kind of knew that coming in because like the Kings, they are currently in 9th, but they have the same record as Dallas, so they need a win today to make sure they stay in 9th and have home court advantage for that first playing game instead of dropping below Dallas. I think Erik has been broken by this news.
You know, I was in a good mood. I was in a genuinely good mood. I was excited for this game because I was like, oh, Oso minutes. Also, I have a bet on Oso today as well. So that's going to be interesting too. I just, man, I hate Mike Budenholzer, man. I really, really hate that guy. Like, genuinely to my core. Like, I don't know if I've ever hated a coach more. Come on. Mason Plumlee in game 82 of 82.
That's crazy.
You're so much more emotionally invested in game 82 of 82 for
It's
a team
just
that's
like,
been eliminated.
come on, dude. What are we doing here? What are we doing? I'm emotionally invested in everything.
It's not, well, but you're right, though, because from a fan's perspective, you're coming into this game to watch the rookies play, to watch the young guys get ample minutes. And you get hit with Mike Budenholzer starting Mason Plumlee. It's kind of like just like the other night when the fans on Fan Appreciation Night were chanting for Bol Bol, and Mike Budenholzer's rationale for not putting him in was that, well, they cut it to 22 or 20 or whatever it was. So
seriously, dude, I never want to see you in the NBA ever again.
Oof.
And you know what? It doesn't seem like you want to see yourself in the NBA ever again either. Let's take a look at the injury report for tonight. Let's add me to the list because somehow I'm broken on 82 of 82. I thought I couldn't get any lower. Damn it!
You're probable. Don't lie.
Oh yeah, no, I'm still doing our watch along. Don't you worry
You're
about that.
Devin Booker questionable, which means he's gonna play.
Katie out, Book out, Beal out, Nick Richards out. Gerald doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's sad. But yeah, big three are not in attendance for this game. Nick Richards is out. I think he told Dwayne Rankin before the game. Mike Budenholzer did that it's not anything serious, so that's good heading into the offseason. You don't want any injuries to be a part of that. And then Kings only missing a couple of guys. Like we said, they're going to be gunning for this one. So this could get ugly given who's out for the Suns and the fact that one of their rookies is not playing.
Left ankle fracture for Kevin Durant?
No, that should be sprain. Yeah, that should be sprain.
Well, let's check on that.
It's not a fracture. If it was a fracture, we would have announced that.
Okay. Well, Steven, we have some keys to the game for tonight.
Yeah, well, one of my keys probably got kicked to the curb, but we can go ahead and run through these real quick. Start with number 3. The have fun part is not as much fun if your youngins are not all starting and playing 35-plus minutes, regardless of the matchup, because the matchup does not matter for your team going forward in terms of postseason implications. Number 2, let the youngins eat. Oso is now starving. Because he's coming off the bench for inexplicably. Like, that makes no sense, but is what it is. And then the first key is to leave this game healthy and whole. And I think they should be in good shape to do that at least. So 1 out of 3 is about the Suns' win percentage this season and tracks for everything we've seen pretty much this season so far.
Well, what do we think is going to happen tonight? Let's take a look at our score predictions.
All right. Well, we got Espo by Kings by doesn't matter.
Awesome.
I've got Kings by 12. Steven has Kings by 4. And Erik, you have an interesting pick.
I have us by let's have some fun, which instantly my prediction's already lost.
Yeah, that's tough.
What? Come on, man. How does this age poorly in game 82 of 82?
The game hasn't even started and your prediction is already out of the question.
You know, maybe it's going to be one of those Mikal Bridges type games from Mason Plumlee where he just fouls Domantas Sabonis in the first 15 seconds and then Oso subs in. That's what I'm going to hold on to for hope.
Does Mason have an Iron Man streak that I don't know about?
I don't. Honestly, Bud probably thinks that he does.
Bold of you to expect nuance from the rotation. Like, seriously.
He's going to play like 30 minutes today.
Well, he might play 30 minutes today, but the reality of the situation is it is game of 82 of 82. So I'll calm down a little bit because we do have an entire off season full of content that we are going to get into. And there is no better man to talk to about the off season for the Phoenix Suns. And of course, everything that might go along with it than DLLS's own. And of course, legend in the NBA community, the one, the only Marc Stein will be joining us here in just a minute. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribed. We're going to be talking about all sorts of things beyond just, of course, game 82 of 82. So make sure y'all hit that like button and we will be getting to him here in a second. So let's just go ahead and prepare and breathe in and out because we are now going to dive headfirst into some off-season content.
Love it. Love that for us on game 82 of 82.
Game 82 of 82. Who cares about the game? Let's get into the offseason. Joining us now, of course, is DLLS's Marc Stein. How you doing, Marc?
Guys, I'm good. Hope the connection's working. Having some technical difficulties, but I think I've got it squared away. I hope.
Yeah, you sound great, Marc. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Obviously, Suns officially out of the play-in, have been since Wednesday. We've been reporting here in the Valley that pretty much everything could be on the table outside of Devin Booker if the Suns miss the play-in. That's come to fruition, and the big name that everyone's going to be looking at, which you and the People's Insider Jake Fisher touched on your newsletter today, is Mike Budenholzer. What are your thoughts on what his future might look like here in Phoenix?
Yeah, look, I mean, we don't have definitive clarity before game 82, but when you talk to people around the league in coaching circles, I mean, a lot of people around the league are looking at Phoenix as, you know, the question is, are we going to see a repeat of what we just saw in Denver? Could we see both a coaching change and a front office change? Again, I can't definitively tell you that's going to happen, but it's what a lot of people around the league are wondering. I would go so far as to say it's what a lot of people around the league are anticipating. You know, before Chauncey Billups got his extension done with Portland today, there was a lot of chatter that Chauncey Billups could emerge as a potential coach in Phoenix. And when Phoenix doesn't even have a vacancy, that's, you know, obviously delicate stuff to talk about. And look, I'm a Mike Budenholzer fan. I've known him a long time. I've known him since he was in the video room in San Antonio. So I've covered Mike for a long, long, long time. But I think you guys know this better than me. You live this every day. You know, change is what you expect with the Phoenix Suns. I mean, since Matt Ishbia took over, they fired Monty Williams with 3 years left on his deal. They dismissed Frank Vogel with 4 years left on his deal. And if there's a coaching change again, it would be with 4 years on Mike Budenholzer's deal. And we've never seen anything like that in terms of coaching firings with that many years on contracts. It is one of the many staggering things about this season in the desert.
Well, not just change in the front office is expected, but also change on the roster as well. Two big names in two very different situations in their careers, Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. What do you think the summer holds for those two?
No question around the league. Everybody's anticipating Kevin Durant to be available. Now, this time, the working assumption is that the Suns would work with Kevin Durant to try to figure that out and not just unilaterally trade him. Like, they were in very serious talks with Golden State, as you guys know, on a trade that Kevin Durant didn't want, and they ultimately didn't do it. The Bradley Beal situation is fascinating in its own right because, again, the expectation in 29 other front offices is that Phoenix will do everything it can to move him. I know Gambo said this week on Phoenix radio there's a 0% chance that Bradley Beal is a Sun next season. And obviously he knows the Suns as well as anyone, but how has that come to pass? Bradley Beal still has one of two full no trade clauses in the league. Only LeBron James and Bradley Beal have them in their deals as we stand. So the Suns cannot trade him without his consent, and buying him out is complicated on way too many levels for me to try to break down with you guys in 5 minutes. My good buddy Keith Smith, one of the best capologists on NBA Twitter, he did a great piece on Spot Track. I urge Suns fans to check that out because he breaks it down to every last option. But I mean, buying out or waiving Bradley Beal, whatever you want, I mean, that is a really difficult move to make when Beal's got $111 million left on his contract after this season. So I'm right there with you guys. I cannot wait to see how this plays out. Bradley Beal said Friday night he wants to stay. He hopes he's back, but he knows that Matt Ishbia is going to want change. And so this is going to be all weekend long. People around the league have been saying how busy it's going to be league wide, but I do think the Suns are going to be at the heart of it, to be honest. And that's why I wanted to come on today with you guys. I want to check on you guys because this is crazy in the All-City family. You got PHNX, you got PHLY, you got DLLS, and every one of those shows thinks that their team has had the most disastrous NBA season in history. Who wins that? Who wins that battle royale?
I'm still going to go with Dallas because of the Luka Doncic trade, but it is closer than I think a lot of us here in Phoenix would like to admit.
Can we all just be counted out? We're just all down for 10 seconds. We all lose at the same time.
Well, first of all, I totally respect that answer. That was very what's the word I'm looking for? You took a very broad perspective there. That was good. I mean, the joke I've been saying is that I wish we were like, I don't know how old you guys are. I don't know if you'll get a Captain Kirk reference from Star Trek, but like I've been saying all year, we need ship to ship communication abilities on these shows. We need to be like PHNX needs to be able to say, okay, we are put DLS on screen so we can have like an inner network debate on who's more miserable.
Mark, you kind of mentioned potential expectations of what happened with Denver to potentially take place here in Phoenix as well. Regarding the front office, are there any names that maybe stand out to you and prospect that the Suns could potentially look to bring into their house to kind of change the direction that things are headed?
That chatter really hasn't started yet because, again, like I don't even like talking about it for either coach or GM when they're there, and we haven't seen change yet, but inevitably around the league, this is what people are discussing. So I don't think it will take long if there is some kind of change for that chatter to start, but it hasn't happened yet beyond the obvious, which is we know Matt Ishbia likes to swing for the fences and go for big names. And, if that's the decisions that he takes, I'm sure he will be ambitious in the extreme, but you would also say, who's lining up to take this thing right now? I mean, as I'm sure you guys have pointed out, and I've said it, you've said it, and none of us are alone. 26 out of 29 teams are not trading places with Phoenix right now in terms of roster, draft picks, etc. So it's not it. They've mortgaged so much of the future to put this team together. Like it's not an obvious, let's try A, B, C, and D and see where we are. I mean, it's just, if they do try to trade Durant, how much can they realistically get for him? I think that will inform a lot on what kind of rebound the Suns can make.
Well, last one from me, Mark. I know that about NBA chatter and stuff, it hasn't started yet, but for you personally, do you feel like this is something that the Suns can at least overcome and become competitive after in the next couple of seasons? Obviously, maybe not next year.
I got to be honest. It's hard for me to see not fast track. Fast track is the wrong word, but look, if they were willing to trade Devin Booker to Houston and get their picks back, that's a pathway to having a pathway back to something sustainable. But we know Book doesn't want to leave Phoenix. We know the Suns don't want to trade Book. So if those two variables hold, I mean, that's the toughest thing is today. There's only one team on the NBA map that doesn't have a playoff berth, doesn't have a play-in shot, and doesn't have a ticket to the draft lottery, and that's the Suns. And I'm not saying it to rub it in. I mean, it is. I mean, you guys know this better than me. You live it every day in every show. It's just fact. And so I am in the camp that believes that trading Book is probably the only way to get in a quote decent position again, and we know they don't want to do it. So we're just gonna have to wait and see how it plays out. You guys tell me. Well, if I put the magic wand in your hand, what do you do?
Pray.
No, not
lots
pray.
And lots of prayer.
I personally think the best option, because of the constraints, try to mend the relationship with KD that you messed up at the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. See what you can get for Bradley Beal from the destinations that obviously he chooses. And then from that point on, it's a dice roll. Hopefully you duck the second tax apron and you can kind of maneuver those waters the best of your abilities. But there's, to your point, no guaranteed route to success because of the complications of each specific option that you have to choose from the top going down.
I think the one thing we don't know yet is who's going to get desperate. Who's going to flame out in these playoffs? Do we see OKC, Houston, New York just have a terrible playoff showing, and then they look at Kevin Durant and are willing to pay up a little bit more than maybe people expect and go from there? But there is no clear path forward, Gerald.
Yeah, the market is going to be suppressed until a team like that emerges. So I think if I'm in charge, it's tough because if you think about ownership and how quickly the fan base has turned on the ownership and the front office here, it would be hard for them to trade Devin Booker, because you would kind of burn that last bridge you had with the fan base, even if it is your potentially best viable path forward to restoring some of your own assets. But Mark, is there anything else about the state of the Suns that you feel you need to get off your chest while you're here?
Yeah, just tacking on to that point, because I think what you guys said there is important. Because there's always been this chatter that Houston would be interested in Durant, but all season long, in my reporting, what I've been consistently told is when the Rockets make their next big move, they want to do it with someone who's on the age timeline as the core players there. And so that has always suggested that they won't be interested in trading for Kevin Durant. But like Gerald just said, what if the Rockets have a really rough playoff run? What if they just get blown out in round one, upset as a number 2 seed, and they have problems scoring, which a lot of people anticipate? Will that in any way change Houston's appetite and change Houston's thinking? Because obviously I think the dream scenario for the Suns would be that the Rockets say, okay, we'll give you back one of these picks for Durant. He's not really on our timeline, but we'll give you some of your draft control back. a measure of your draft control back. But again, that is, that's an unknown. And to this, all season long, the messaging out of Houston has been, if you want to talk Devin Booker, we'll listen. But we're not entertaining this for players who aren't on a similar age timeline as all the young and their group is, even Book is older than all the players there. Their group is really young. I forgot the number off the top of my head, but I think they have like 7 former first rounders under the age of 23 or something like that. Just a really young core. So, but I think you guys are right. The playoffs will tell us a lot. What happens with the Rockets? What happens with the Knicks? Does anyone else really meet with disappointment that makes them say, you know what? Let's go get Kevin Durant. Let's try.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to chatting with you in the offseason. Of course, if you're missing the Marc Stein in your life, well, go check out DLLS. And of course, you can check out his Substack as well. You can find all of that on socials at The Stein Line. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Sunday to join the miserable PHNX crew over here.
Hang in there, guys. I am thinking about you. Hang in there.
Appreciate you, Mark. All right, guys, let's wrap up our pregame show here by taking a look at our pregame picks presented by our friends over at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHNX365 when you sign up and find out why, whatever the moment, it is never ordinary over at Bet365. Let's go ahead and look at the standings if we have those really quickly, because there is a lot on the line today. I keep on saying tonight, man. I'm just so out of it. But I am currently in the lead, and I'm allowed to wager however much I would like. But with the parlays that these two guys have been cooking up, I would say they're never fully out of it, despite seeming like they're fully out of it. So I was pretty upset when Oso was not in the starting lineup. And that's because I put $100 on my bet today to leave the door open in case I don't hit it.
Oh, man.
And I did it on this. Oso Ighodaro, 10 plus points. Put $100 on it. Would make about 200 off of that. So we'll see if Oso can actually get any playing time. Imagine Bud just keeps him on the bench the whole game.
I'm fully expecting Mason Plumlee like 32 minutes.
I'll be so angry. Steven, what are you putting your money on today?
Grab your glasses, your bifocals.
Oh, my Lord.
Let's go.
Go all in or go home. Man.
Yeah, you have no other choice.
Exactly.
You have no other choice.
Start with the Suns scoring 110 points in this one. Ryan Dunn scoring 20 points again. Ryan Dunn also grabbing 7 or more rebounds again. Oso Ighodaro scoring 5 or more points. Grayson Allen with 3 or more assists, as well as 5 more rebounds. Domantas Sabonis, double-double. Zach LaVine, 5 assists or 5 points in the first quarter, Domantas Sabonis with 3 rebounds in the first quarter, and then rounding things out, Sabonis with at least 1 assist in the first quarter.
All right. I love it.
Something light. Just a little some.
Some light work.
Let's see. Is Espo giving up? Is he going to try to get back? Let's see what he's putting his money on. Wow. Okay. Ryan Dunn, 30 plus points. Grayson Allen, 20 plus points. Oso Ighodaro, 10 plus points at a plus 9,500.
Got a 30 ball from Ryan Dunn. That would be fun.
That would be fun, knowing Bud, it's going to be Royce O'Neal hours. Before we get out of here, let's just paint the picture of this game with the line, also presented by our friends over at Bet365. Yep.
Yikes.
Plus 15.5 on the spread, plus 750 on the money line for the Suns, minus 1,200. That's got to be the biggest one of the season for the Kings, minus 15.5 on the spread. Well, we can be miserable together for the watch along. Join Steven and I as we're hanging out throughout this Suns Kings game. And of course, tune back in for all 3 of us for our post game show, all right here on PHNX Sports. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Follow along during the game at PHNX_Suns. And remember, special guest of the post game. You're going to want to be there for it. So we'll see you then.
We all silly like the mayor.